So today we are talking about the newbie bloggers, and I want to talk about how to promote your blog. There's all kinds of ways to promote your blog. And we've been talking about lighting and names on our link tree and all those things while we were waiting for folks to jump on. I think we've solved some issues on lighting and link tree. And Ruth, your light looks wonderful. I love it. And I love the blue behind you.
That's a new wall that we just painted. And I wasn't going to put a picture right behind me. It's just blank. But then I end up getting that one at the side, but maybe that's just as well because it doesn't conflict with my head.
Right. I used to do weddings at the Concourse Hotel, and the brides would want to put the cake table at a certain place. And I said, no, you don't want to put it there. And they're like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, no, you don't, because there's a fire exit sign that's going to come out of your ear and all of your all of your pictures of your wedding cake. I said, so don't do that. You're going to have this fire exit sign. So yeah, you have to be careful what's behind you in when you're doing Zoom calls. And again, we're just perfecting, we're just getting set up, we're getting ready. I have an entire 5-car garage that's just packed to the gills with salon equipment and leftovers from rehabbing 30 properties, you can imagine. And my dad's shopsmith's out there. I was just talking about his shopsmith and the lamp that he made way back in the day. But anyhow, Mark has that. But anyway, all of that is in the garage. We have a section that we plan on cleaning out and setting up an actual office for me. And I think my daughter Jen and I are going to share an office out there. Mark already has the heating and cooling system for it. And we already have the door that's going to go on. It's going to be a full glass door. And we're going to have an actual separate office separate from the house. So it'll do a couple of things for me. Number one is it'll separate me from my office when it's time for me to leave work. With it being in the corner of my kitchen, I have a tendency that every time I get an extra 10 minutes, I sit down thinking I'm going to do just one more thing. And 3 hours later, I'm still doing that one more thing. And so it will force me to separate myself. And it'll give me that much needed downtime, and it won't make me feel like I'm always working. And because I do love it. And so I have a tendency, to kind of, sit at my desk more than I should. I need to be more active still. And so anyway, so that's in the works. And also Jennifer will be working there with me. So it'll give me that community, I'll be working with someone. I won't just be by myself all day. And she'll be working because it'll be her office too. And then she is actually my admin on all 30 doors of our rental properties. And it'll also get her into the mix to see what I'm doing there, because a large part of what I do in a day's time is manage the 30 rentals and deal with all kinds of contractors. And so she'll kind of get the feel for that as to what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and who our primary contractors are and all that good stuff. And then she'll also get an idea of what I do when it comes time to record and do these Zoom calls. And she's doing some of those as well. So because she's putting herself out there as an admin to do social media. And so she's doing some Zoom calls. So anyway, I think it's going to be a good mix. It's not going to be until probably mid to late summer before we get that set up, because we've got a lot of cleaning out to do in the meantime, all of that extra stuff. So I want to keep blogging and just keep making people aware of what I'm doing. My business is growing. Things are going great. I'm watching Ruth. Hers is going great. She's got a 5-day challenge coming up. I can't wait to see that. Debbie has her podcast coming up this Friday. Who's your guest this Friday, Debbie? Oh, you're on mute. Do you know who your guest is already? I'm assuming you do this close.
No. And that's because I'm going to Salt Lake City on Wednesday.
Oh.
So it's been kind of like, oh yeah, sorry. So we can talk about that later.
Okay. So, but Debbie, you've got it down to a science. You've been doing the interviewing. Again, if you pick someone that already has their media kit, it just makes, you don't even hardly have to prepare. All you do is open up the call and ask the questions on, their media kit. And so I've discovered and I need to somehow go back and share this. And I think this is important, that when we know that someone is doing a good job, I think sometimes we forget to go back and tell them that they're doing a good job. And I do need to go back and tell Carrie how amazing, because every one of his authors has come prepared with media kits at some level. Now, some are better than others, but they've all come with some preparation. And when I get outside of Carrie's group, they don't have any. They don't have any preparation.
A lot of that was Joel was pushing that for a while. Now, I don't know whether Carrie is now or not.
Well, I think he is. I think that's part of their BAE, is that, is to put together your media. That's one of the steps in BAE. But anyway, it's just amazing at how much further ahead his whole tribe seems to be than the general population.
Wow.
And I don't know, unless somebody shares that with him, I don't know how much he really realizes that. That how much impact he has actually had on the teachings that he's brought to his tribe. And so I do need to share that with him. And as a matter of fact, I think I will put together an email later today. So I am making myself put that on my list of things to do. So anyway, Debbie, with that said, if you will find one of Carrie's, to interview, you will find someone that is probably prepared, and you won't have to do any prep. You can just sign on at the right time, have them email over, or even if they tell you to go to their website and download their media kit, the two of you sign on at the given time, and you just ask the questions that they already have prepped, and an hour later you're done.
Right. It is. It's very easy.
Yeah. So I would, whenever I get into a pickle, I go to Carrie's tribe. Because they're more prepared. So that's my little hint for today. I want to talk about the 10 best ways to promote your website online. The number one way is to do some link exchanges with other websites. Okay, so anytime you can link from somewhere else over to you, it raises it in the search engine. And that could be not only your blog, it could be your website, it could be Ruth, it could be your 5-day challenge. If you can get folks to link over to you. So if you write a blog post and link it to your 5-day challenge, that counts.
I have been in my social media.
Yeah, good. And so anytime somebody links back to you, it raises you in the search. And so you want to get people to link back to you. That's why LinkedIn works so well. That link tree, well, LinkedIn too, but Linktree, where you put your links on the link tree, that's just one more way that you're linking back to your own stuff. Now, I did link in my link tree. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I linked back to Wendy's event on June 25. That is a tribe trip for us. And I promoted it such, but I'm not making anything off of that. I just put her link there. And so when folks link, she's getting paid the $99 or whatever it is. She's getting paid that. I'm not getting paid anything. And it's raising her in the search engines because I'm just one out of many that are linking back to her. And that's how you can support each other as well, is to link to their stuff. And I forgot this morning, Ruth, and I want to apologize. I wanted to trade out my link for yours for a while in our call this morning, because again, that helps raise you in the search engine. And after we got off the call, I was like, oh, I forgot to do Ruth's 5-day challenge up there. So, but anyway, have some folks link back to you, and it can be any number of ways, but that is one way to raise your searchability. The second thing is to submit articles to article directories. You can write a blog post and it becomes an article, and you could submit it to article directories. Now, it may take some time to increase, because, you know, their readership has to finally hit on topics that, you know, that you like. But you can submit articles to those sites. And I was looking to see if I could find some of the names. Yeah, I don't see any of the names of the sites just yet. I was hoping to find some sites that was in this article that you could actually link to. The only one that it mentions is Panda.
Panda.
Yeah, it's called Panda, Panda.
I'm not really familiar with directory sites. That's something
I'm not either, but you know what? I'll look that up. The next one is paying for some advertising. You can actually pay for folks to, you know, read your blog post. The best way to do that, and I'm doing this with one of my, as a matter of fact, Kyle, who is my partner in the long-term and yeah, the long-term real estate, not the short-term. In the long-term real estate, Kyle Brandon works with me with our mastermind group. And he just now came to me and Mark, and he wanted to know if we would do some private money lending. And I always think real estate when I think of private money lending, and I'm like, well, what are you buying? And he's like, no. He said, I want to do an ad campaign on Facebook. And he said, I want to get private money lending, because he said, I want to do it with no money out of my pocket. And he said, and I want to bless someone else. So he said, once I close a deal, he said, I will pay back whatever you loan me in private money with interest. He said, so you make the interest. He said, I get the money up front. I get to do the ad. And he's doing a full ad campaign just through Facebook.
Yeah.
And he's doing one where you pay per click.
Right.
And so you could do that in with your blog post, is that you could actually, once you post it over onto Facebook, is that you could then run a Facebook ad campaign using that blog post and actually promote your blog that way.
Mm-hmm.
So pay for advertising. The second one is make a separate blog to promote your website. Now that's what I've done. I've done a whole separate URL. I've got my website URL on this side. I've got my blog URL on this side. And now I can blog about my website, and my website points to the blog and the blog points to the website. So it helps raise both of those up in the search engines, but my blog posts are constantly advertising my website.
Okay,
So
I didn't follow.
I'm
sorry.
Can you do that because you are doing HostGator?
Because I have a separate URL.
Right. So I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet which way I'm going yet.
Okay.
I've got to get some other things finalized, figured out, focused on before I really do that. But if I just do my blog on my website, I'm not sure I could.
No, because it's the same URL.
Right. So that,
Right.
Okay, I'm tracking with you.
Yeah, because if you have a page on your website, you know, you're a WordPress
Mm-hmm.
and you've got your home page, your blog page, your author
Mm-hmm.
page, your course page, that's all one URL.
Right.
Somebody would go to Ruth Pierce Time to Fly, and that's what they get.
Right.
For mine, they go to kathybinner.com to get my website, and they go to freestyleliving.net
Right.
to get my blog post.
Right.
Now, if they land on the website first and they don't know anything about me having a blog and scroll down, I actually linked my blog over there. It looks like it's a page on my website because I actually highlighted the freestyleliving.net URL and put it over here on my website. I embedded it in. So when you scroll down, you think that is the blog right there on the website. But if you click on it, it automatically opens the HostGator site.
Right.
Now, what I did is I went into the color, my burgundy color, and you'll understand this if you've done any WordPress work at all, but if you highlight that color where you get to choose your colors, it'll come up with a color code.
Right.
And what I did is I copy and pasted that because I had picked a burgundy on HostGator, but it wasn't the exact same burgundy. Reds
Right.
are all different shades of red, and it wasn't the exact same shade of burgundy. So what I did to really make it look like you're not leaving my website is that I went into the color and copied the actual color code. And then I went over to HostGator and opened up the color code and pasted it there. And all of a sudden the colors were exactly the same color because it's the same color code. So now when you click over into my Vistaprint website on my blog and it opens up HostGator, you can't really tell you're leaving the site because it's the exact same color scheme. It looks like you just went to a different page.
Mhm.
Okay. And then if you X out of that, it automatically takes you back to the Vistaprint site again.
Mhm.
So it just really looks like you went to an additional page and came back. It does not look like you left the site at all.
Right.
But because I have two separate URLs, I feel, and I didn't do it on purpose, but now that I've done it and looking back, I am appreciating the fact that I have two separate URLs, because if I want to advertise my blog along with my website, I can, because it's there. If I want to advertise my blog as a whole separate entity, I can, because it has a separate URL.
Right.
And so I'm actually enjoying having two separate URLs now that I have it. I don't know that I would have purposely done that, but I do enjoy having two separate. And so now if I want to enter a writing contest, people will say, well, we don't want you to market yourself. We just want you to share your blogs. If you're in a writing contest, I can just share my HostGator URL and not my website. And if my blog were literally inside my website with the same URL, I'd have to share my kathybetter.com, which automatically comes up to my homepage, which makes it look like I'm marketing. So I feel, quite by accident, because my Vista did not have a good blog plugin, is the only reason I ended up having my blog over on HostGator. But I feel that that it actually has worked to my advantage a couple of times. And of course I didn't know what I didn't know. So I didn't know that it would at that point. I didn't know that maybe someday I would enter a writing contest that they didn't want me to market my website. I didn't know that. And
No.
so now it's easy, because one of the questions in the application process that everyone else was asking was, how do we get our blog separated out from our website so that we're not advertising and well, you got to copy and paste it over into a Word document, and then you got to create a link to the Word document, and then you got to upload and all I had to do was upload my HostGator.net.
Yeah, I'm
Because
still
it's already
doing the pros
separate.
and cons on that. So that was interesting. I'd never heard that piece of it.
So yeah, so it's different. But anyhow, if you make your blog separate, you can promote your website, and your website can promote your blog, and the URLs are linking back to each other. And so now you're lifting both of those up in the search engines, because a link back to is what lifts it up in the search engine.
Okay.
Okay. Number 6 is a mailing list. Now, again, I know this is always the hard one to get started, but if you just look at your emails already, do you have 10 people in your,
I need to use my mailing list.
yeah, do you have 20? Just your friends and family and people that you've just emailed back and forth for whatever reason, you probably already have, email list. It's just a matter of, and it doesn't have to be salesy. It can be serving. Remember, serving is selling. So you're just going to serve. So if it's, again, I have a mailing list of folks that maybe I've done business with. Well, I don't necessarily want to sell them, you need to take my coaching course and learn how to have passive income. They might go, oh, Kathy, what are you doing now, girl? And so, because these are people that I've known for years. But if I say, hey, Susie, I read this book the other day and it was amazing, and I just thought you might be interested. And, here is, the link to the book. I'm not selling anything. Might not even be my book. You know, I might say, hey, I've got this girl's Ruth. She's written this amazing book called Time to Fly. And I just think, you know, you would really enjoy it. And here's the link. But at the bottom of my email, I can make it a marketing piece. I can put my link tree link under my signature. I can put, you know, the different, you can make a whole signature box on your email that every single email that goes out has your marketing material automatically embedded there. And I've done that in my Yahoo Mail and I've done it in my Gmail. Those are the two email accounts I use all the time. And both of those have that block already set up and they match. So if you get an email from me from Gmail or from the Yahoo Mail, either way, if I send you a personal email, you're going to get that marketing block. It's automatically put in there. I just went into my settings in the actual emails and created the little marketing piece there, which is just my links. It's just Kathy Benner. Here's my phone number. Here's my link tree. Here's a link if you want to connect with me and have a chat with me on Calendly. It's just, that's all it is. So every time somebody gets an email from me, they see, oh, she's doing something. They see it there. Okay. And spend time forum posting. Now, forum posting is it's a niche. What you want to do is find other social posts, other like pages and groups that are talking about the same thing that you're talking about. Now, you don't want to make it salesy, but again, if when you're writing your blog post, you talk about serving and not selling, like, hey guys, I just found a great, you know, if I'm doing I'll back up and say this, if I'm doing a blog post for real estate investors, I might say, hey guys, I just discovered a great way that you can stop in the middle and start in the middle of your painting and you not have a line that shows on your wall. I have some great tips and tricks on how to do that. Well, I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling the paint. I'm not selling the paint rollers. I'm just adding value. I'm just saying, here's some tips and tricks. And if they're out there going, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to paint this unit, I'm going to read this. Well, once they read the blog post, see, they'll say, who is this Kathy Benner? She's always, here's the key, she's always showing up with these great tips. See, and that'll make them want to connect with you. And so just spend time adding value to those groups that are doing what you're doing. You know why? That's where your audience is. If you're doing homesteading, then start blogging into a homesteading group and site. Don't sell, just start serving, because the folks that have joined that homesteading site are interested in, guess what? Homesteading. See, so if I want to appeal to a larger real estate group, I need to start blogging and posting into real estate groups. If I want to appeal to writers, I need to start blogging and posting into writer groups. Not selling, just serving. And that gets hard because then somebody will ask. And so then you have to go back to the top of that group or page and read the rules. You don't want to break the rules. You've got to go back up and read the rules. And if it says you can answer if somebody asks, but don't market yourself, but you can answer if somebody asks, but no links. That's the most common one. And so if somebody goes, Kathy, I'd like to learn more about all of your tips and tricks. Well, I can answer, but I can't post a link. And that's the most common. They don't want folks to link out of their site over to some other site. So I just say something like, you know, just connect with me. You know, just feel free to connect with me. That has them going and clicking on me instead of me giving them a link. That all they have to do is click on my face and it goes over to my profile, which brings us to the next point. Can people connect with you through your profile? Do you have your links in your profile? So go back and check your profile, open up your own personal Facebook profile, LinkedIn profile, Instagram profile. Are your links available there? And I'm liking the link tree more and more because it's just one link and it gives them, and link tree is so easy to edit. And that's why I like it. So like Ruth, if I were promoting a 5-day challenge, I could put that link right at the top of my link tree. But as soon as the 5-day challenge is over, I can take it down. It's not like your website where you got to, get in there and update this whole website. And then if you're going to do a master class, you can pop your master class link up there. If I'm going to do a Zoom call, I can pop my Zoom call link up there. If I'm going to do, like this trip to South Florida, I can just pop the link up there that takes them over to Wendy's information if somebody wants to join us. And see, and once that's over, it's real easy for me then to just pop a new link in there for the new tribe trip. And so that's why I like the link tree. Okay, is all of this making sense? So that brings us, of course, to social media, which is kind of what we were talking about with social media, is just get in there and serve. Most of my new members are coming from my social media, where I am just serving. I am just adding value. And the best way to do that is with a blog post, because you've got some content there. Now, you can make them a little shorter if you're going to put them on social media, because sometimes folks don't have time to read a whole 3,000 words. So I try to make my blog post. I like what Sherry said the other day, where if you did five sentences in a paragraph and then less than 5 paragraphs, well, I sometimes will break it down to 3 paragraphs. I'll just have the beginning, the middle, and the end. Like, here is the problem, and here was my aha moment, and now here's how I want to inspire you. Because again, you don't want to sell anything when you are serving, but it's real easy at the bottom of your blog. See, then very indiscreetly, you can put a link back to your website, which just brings up both. Okay. So the search engine optimization, that's what we're talking about here. It's now when you start to write your blog post, make sure that you use words that are going to come up in the search engines. And that's where I really like the Google Trends. And we've talked about that before, where you can, just list all of your titles, because your titles is what is going to come up in the searches, and is how folks are looking for stuff. And so you can go over there under Google Trends and see what's trending. How are people asking for this information? And then you want to weave those phrases into your title and into your first paragraph, so that your work comes up when they Google those questions. Okay, so it's so important. And then just content, just write articles. Get some content under your belt. I don't know how many times, and I'll just kind of use authors and bloggers in general, but I'll see this author have this wonderful sales page, and I'll click on it, which takes me over to their website, and they've got one book. Or I'll see this awesome sales page about content, and I think, oh, this sounds really good, and I'll click on it, and they've got like 3 blog posts. And you scroll around and it's just those 3. That's all there is. And even though everyone has to start somewhere, you really need to have some content. And so the best way to have some content is to write about 10 blog posts and get them all ready, and then launch all 10. But then you can highlight one at a time over on your social media, spend a couple weeks on this one, then take another one, spend a couple weeks. But when people do click over, they see that, oh, she's been writing about this for a while. She's an expert on this field, because because if you've got at least 10, at least the bottom of the list disappears and they have to scroll to get to the bottom. When all 2 or 3 pop up and that's the whole thing, they don't feel like you're very much of an expert. It's how you make people feel. They feel like, oh, she's new, or oh, she's just getting started, or did she do this and then bail and change her mind? Did she only do 3 and never came back to it? Which is another thing. Go into your blog whatever platform you're using for your website and your blog post, and just put it on your calendar that every year, go to the bottom, and you know how you have the year, an update that everything is trademarked, update that year every year on your blog and on your website. Because if it shows, 2005 down there, it makes people feel like you haven't come back and visited that website since 2005. And that, oh, she's probably not even in business anymore. So update that, make it current, make it very current down there.
Where is that? In the footer?
Usually it's in the footer. You're going to put it in the footer of, and if you look at mine, you can go to either kathybinner.com or the freestyleliving.net, either one. And now that I said that, I got to make sure my freestyleliving.net that I updated it after
You're probably talking about the privacy stuff and things like that, aren't you?
Well, not necessarily. At the very bottom, and I'm looking at my freestyle. I know I updated my the Kathy Benner one, but at the freestyleliving.net, I'm scrolling down there now. It's in the footer. They call that the junk drawer. And usually it's where your address goes, and mine is not on Freestyle Living. Whoop. Anyhow, it says copyright and all rights reserved. And then you have the date that you copyrighted and all rights reserved. And that's down in the footer of your email, of your website and your blog site, if they're two separate sites. And that's also where you would put your privacy information and all that other information. So I'm going to pull up my Kathy Benner one, my kathybinner.com. And on the kathybinner.com one, and what I did is I created my pages in the junk drawer and then just hid the pages, because folks have to click there in the footer to get to those. I don't want them to show up in my menu. So in the footer, it is updated. It says copyright 2022, Kathy Benner, and then there's a link for a privacy notice and there's a link for terms and conditions, but it says copyright 2022. It does not say that on my HostGator one. I need to fix that. Now, it's not bad on HostGator. It's not like 2005, but I need to update, and I'm putting it on my list. Update HostGator copyright in the footer. But that should always be the current year, and put that on your calendar, like in January or something, to update your copyright date on your website and blog site. If they're separate, if they're the same, you'll catch them both. And what it does is it just makes your viewers feel like you've been there. If you've copyrighted it in 2022, they're like, oh, this is current. This information, I can trust this information. Mm-hmm. If it's copyrighted 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, then they start to wonder, is this event still going on? Is this link still good? This looks like an old website. Okay. All right. So what are your final thoughts on promoting? Has this been helpful for you to promote your blogs? Because by promoting your blog, you're promoting you, and by promoting you, you're promoting your income. It's a process, I know. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, questions, comments?
Debbie's got that overwhelmed look.
It must be the brain this morning.
I get it. I get it.
I couldn't find the button on Clubhouse to talk and move up for the life of me.
Oh.
I kept pressing all the wrong things. So I'll have to go back and review where to find that.
Now, I was going to say, when it comes up, when somebody invites you to come up, I'm thinking you just,
it's at the top.
It's at the top. It is. Is that at the top? Yeah, I bet you were looking at the bottom.
I was.
I think it's a green bar at the top. Join as speaker.
Yes, I think you are correct.
Oh, you are right. I remember now seeing that before. Duh. Yeah, for some reason, this is just, I sort of get it because I know it's a review. But when I think of where I am, it's like, So I'm just going to have to review this and work on it a little bit more, but I'll, I haven't been having the time right now. Too many things going on.
Oh, I get it. I get it. And this time of year, because of spring and you've got everything going on in your business this time of year. And even here with the guest, I had to get my yard in order and I've got landscaping to do. And even now, I still don't have my umbrellas out on all my patio tables, and that's on my list this afternoon, but I got 3 rooms to flip before that. And then I've got a move in that we're doing in a piece of real estate. So anyhow, yeah, I get it. I get it. It comes at you.
And
So you
Mother's
have
Day,
to,
of course, Mother's Day just like flew in and flew out.
yep, I get it. I get it. But if you're at least blogging somewhere and saving those blog posts, the first
Yes.
thing, Debbie, that I would recommend for you is to just start getting them uploaded into your HostGator.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do.
And if you have a bunch
put it in
saved
there.
and written that maybe you've done on Facebook or that you've done over the years, you can go back and you can use those. You don't have to start from scratch today. You can go back through some of your material. And maybe it's an article that you had written on Facebook. Maybe it's an article that you had written, a while back for some other purpose, and you saved it. You can oftentimes just open that up and tweak it a little bit, kind of clean it up, make it current, and just
That's a
copy
good
and
point.
paste that right over into your HostGator and start getting some content over there. And be sure on HostGator that you enter the tags. And what that
Oh.
means is when you go to PLR, which is where you can get all that free content, if you go to PLR and use PLR, they even give you the tags. They even say this article, if I put in that I want to write about passive income, it might come up with the word freedom, passive income, money, work from home. It might have maybe 10 different tags that people could search for that article. And so PLR even gives you the tags. But when you're maybe uploading something that you've written in the past, go through and try to get at least 6 words that somebody might look for that article answers. What are 6 questions? Would somebody might say, oh, I have a question about time. Maybe you've written about saving time somewhere in your article. So time might be one of your tags. And people might say, because you're doing homesteading, they might say, oh, I want to look up some articles about gardening, or I want to look up articles about canning, or I want to look up articles, about growing season or whatever. You can create all those tags. And if that's what you've written about in your article, then that's the tags you want to attach to that article. And that is what Vistaprint didn't have when I started to blog inside my website. Vistaprint had a blogging plugin, but it didn't have any way to create tags. It had no way to search for an article. And that was why I went to HostGator, because HostGator has that option to search.
HostGator is very easy to use as far as I'm concerned, for my simplicity brain.
Well, me too. That's why I chose it, because I wanted something that was just plug and play. And I just picked a theme that I liked and said, okay, this is it. And then all I did was tweak the color to match my Vistaprint. And then it just walks you through it. It just says, put your picture here. Okay. Put your title here. Okay. What are your tags? Up to, I don't know, 10 maybe. I don't know. There's a number you're allowed to have. And it said, what are your tags? And I just added my tags. And then it said, put your article, write your article here. Well, I'd already written it over on a Word document. So I just pasted it and boom, there it is. And then at the bottom, once I do all that and get to the bottom, then I just do my links back to my website, my calendar, and the International Academy, those 3 links. And then I'm done.
Well, that's a great place to start. And I think you're right. Just go to everything I have, which is a lot, and start from there. Yep, I agree.
Now, if you've read something and you've saved somebody else's work, be careful. Don't look at that and go, oh, that'd make a great blog post, and end up plagiarizing something accidentally.
Well, as long as you give them credit, that the information came from a certain place, that's not plagiarizing, right?
Well, but it depends on their copyright. They may have said on their site that you're not allowed to reproduce it without written permission.
Oh,
So you have to be careful with that.
okay.
But if you have something that, and I'm so guilty where I've copied and pasted something and I didn't even put, it's just like, oh, I really like that. And I've copied and pasted it to save
Right.
it because I wanted to refer back to it. And then I go back and I go, I know I didn't write that. Where did that come from? And I don't even remember. And so
Yeah.
there are plagiarizing sites on your computer. You can just pull up, and I saved one. Let's see if I can see what it is. I saved one that I like the best. It's called, it's at customwriting.com /check paper for plagiarism. And it's customwriting.com /check paper for plagiarism. And when you go there, it just says place your text here, and you can copy and paste it right into the box. And it not only tells you how much of it was somewhere else on the internet, it'll tell you where it was found.
Oh, and then can you use it?
Then you have to go back to where it was found and see what their copyright says.
Okay.
But at least it'll tell you where it was found on the internet.
Okay. Well, that's a good tip.
So anyway, so that's a good one, so that you don't plagiarize. You want to, make sure that. And then there's sites out there that if you have an article, it doesn't work with big articles, but if you had, like 3 paragraphs, there are even sites out there that you can enter it and tell it to rewrite it. And it'll rewrite the same article with different words. And then
Really?
then you can use that one.
I like that. That's a good, so what's the website for that, or what would you think?
Let's see if I have that. I don't use that very often. Article rewriter, and let's see what it is. It's called plagiarismremover.net /article rewriter. Plagiarismremoval.net /article rewriter. And again, it's the same thing. It's just got a box, empty box, and it just says, start typing your original text. Well, it's usually one that I've that I have copied somewhere, and I just paste it in there. And then you click rewrite, there's a button at the bottom, and it just changes all the words. And I found an article the other day that I really liked everything it said, but I didn't want to plagiarize it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. I've never done this. I'm going to try this. So I popped it in there, and it did change some of the words, but not a lot of them. And then I copy and pasted it back over to the first site, and it still said too much of it was plagiarized. So I took the new version, hit the rewrite again, and I kept putting in the new version rewrite, copy and paste, new version rewrite, and it kept changing more and more words. And I did it probably 4 times before it finally said, you're good. This is an original article. And I didn't write anything. All I did was post the paragraphs in there and hit rewrite, and then I copy and pasted it again and rewrite, and I did it 4 times. And it changed it just a little bit 4 different times. And finally that 5th version passed.
Persistence.
Yeah.
You said plagiarism removal what?
.net.
Thought you said that.
Yeah.
And then what?
Plagiarism remover .net.
Remover.
.net /article rewriter. Now, I don't recommend that you use that a lot. First of all, in the amount of time that I took playing, because I was just playing with it to see what it would do, I could have written my 3 paragraphs in the amount of time it took me to mess with that. So I probably won't use that. And if you had a very big article, it would be time consuming. And so I probably won't use that much, but I do like the one that you can check to make sure you haven't plagiarized something, because sometimes I'll come across something and I'm thinking, this doesn't look like I wrote this whole thing. Maybe I wrote part of it, and I just wanted to make sure that I don't accidentally, get into a pickle.
Well, which reminds me, what were you reading from this morning on Clubhouse? The list of that you went over.
I put that together from several different articles. That one was actually my own, but I just got it from several different articles.
Okay, so you put it together.
Did my research and put that together. Yeah, I'm looking to see if I still have it up, because I had saved it somewhere. Yeah, this was just 10 ways to build inner strength. I didn't find anything on inner strength. It was more about believing in yourself and all of these other things. And it was tons on physical strength. And so I just kind of put that together from about 4 or 5 different articles.
Well, it resonated with me, and I wanted to get on there and say something, but next time.
I get it. Not a problem. So, but I want to encourage you to start getting your voice out there, because that's how folks get to know, like, and trust you. Is they can't get to know, like, and trust you if you're not putting yourself out there. And this is a safe way to put yourself out there, because you're not upfront, you're not in a speaking thing, nobody is judging you, you're just putting out a little article, you're just putting out a blog post. But if you're consistent with that, and you have to be, and you'll notice on my social media, I'm out there every day. And I just spend a little bit of time each morning, and then I don't get on social media the rest of the day. I don't have time, but I'll get out there in the morning. When I first wake up, I'll try to post a few things, and then right before I go to sleep at night, I follow up on anybody that's commented or whatever. I try to go in and either like their comment or something. And what happens with social media is it boosts you if there's a conversation. That's what it's all about. Well, I sometimes don't have time. I don't have time to answer all those comments. Sometimes I'll get a lot of comments on a post. I don't have time to answer all of that. And so you can answer with just an emoji. That's still, Facebook still counts that, and Instagram, they count that as a two-way conversation, even if you just put a heart back or a thumbs up or whatever. And so
didn't know that.
And so that's an easy way, if it's late and if you're tired and if you don't really have time but you want to respond, you can answer with emojis. And so I do that sometimes, because I don't have time to physically write an answer out for everybody.
Cool.
But I only get on twice a day. I get on in the mornings, and then I do my Clubhouse, then I do my Zoom calls. Then I'm all about taking care of the guest or the house or the real estate or whatever. And some days are busier than others. But then I do save, like, Wednesday afternoons is my girl time. So I hang out with my girlfriends, and we'll just hang out Wednesday afternoons. And then, like Ruth, I try to not work on Sundays except for checking guests out. I try to not work on Sundays, and that's kind of Mark's day. And it's whatever, we decide to do together. And we like to take walks, and he loves, I realize how lucky I am, ladies. He loves antiquing. Can you believe that? He loves it. Yeah, I know. Who knew? He loves that stuff. And to go to an antique mart and poke around, he could poke around. As a matter of fact, I'm usually the one sitting at the door waiting for him. Yeah, he loves to poke around in those places and flea markets, and he loves it. He loves it. And to go to a coffee shop then on our way back, and then take a walk in the woods. I mean, that's all the stuff he loves too. So I try to save my Sundays for that.
Cool.
But anyway, this has been great. I can't wait to see you guys more out there, but you've got to start putting yourself out there because that's what's going to build your business. And Debbie, you've got a great thing to start blogging about the Fireside Chat with Debbie Marks.
Mhm.
Yeah, just start
yeah.
blogging and advertising that. And so I'll give Debbie a little hint, and Ruth, you too, if you decide to do this. If you put your event on Meetup, folks will find you on Meetup. It's just a different, it's like Facebook events, Meetup, and Eventbrite. Those are my three top. And all they are, it's a ready-made sales funnel.
Mhm.
Facebook events, Meetup, and Eventbrite. They're all ready-made sales funnels. So if you put your events over there on those three things, you can market right inside the platform. Meetup does not give you all of your members' email addresses.
Right.
But you can click to message everyone that's in your Meetup group, and you can email them inside of Meetup. You don't know their email addresses, but you can email them inside of Meetup.
Yeah.
And so you'll notice when I send out my weekly event update on everything that's going on, my weekly announcements of everything that's going on this week, you may get one that says it came from Meetup if you're a member of that group. And that's because I sent that announcement out through Meetup.
I didn't know that.
Then you may get one from Kathy Benner International Academy because you're a member in the academy.
Right.
Oh, so that may be why we're, if we
And
get,
that's why and that's why I mentioned,
I get 4.
yeah, well, you're in 4 different groups. And that's why I mentioned at the top of my email that if you get more than one, it's because you're a member in more than one group.
Right.
But
That's okay.
the point is use that to your advantage to notify those members, because just like you and me and everyone else, they're crazy busy too. And they may forget that your meetup is coming. And so I don't want to blow everybody's inbox up by sending out emails every day. So I try to do it once on the weekend for the week. This is my weekly reminder of everything that's happening this week. But I send it out to the Meetup group, and then I send it out to the actual Kathy Benner International Academy group.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
use that to your advantage. So Debbie, you're sitting on quite an email list because your Fireside Chat, I don't know if I wrote it down. I got some of the other ones written down. Your Fireside Chat on Meetup has, I'm thinking
281.
281. There you go. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have 281 people already on an email list.
Oh, when you put it that way, it's
So-
like,
So when you do a blog post, that is the perfect place for you to post your blog, and with a link at the bottom back to the actual blog. So if somebody goes, oh, I really like this, and they click, they can jump over and see 10 more posts over there, like, oh yeah. But you can even start posting there. But all you have to do is just weave in a thread about the Fireside Chat.
yeah.
You can say something, you can make a blog post that says something like, today I was working on I was working on my list of folks that I want to interview on my Fireside Chat. But first I had to get my planting done because it's that time of year. And here are 3 tips on how you too can blah, 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 blah. And then close it out by saying, and if you're interested in being a guest on my Fireside Chat, click here to connect with me, or click over here to visit my blog.
Well, that just makes a lot of sense. It
Because
really
you've already
does.
got the email list. You don't know their emails, but you've already got the email list.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And I have discovered, and this is just me, and you gals might make a different decision, but for me, if I get an email from a company more than once a week, because my life is kind of busy, if I get more than once a week, I start to feel like, okay, I feel like I'm constantly weeding through that email. I'm constantly either deleting it or moving it out of the way. And after a while, it kind of irritates me.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, oh, stop emailing me all this stuff. I'm trying to like,
Yeah.
get my inbox, cleaned out. And so I've discovered that once a week is the non-irritating amount for me. Once
I
a month
agree.
is almost not enough because I almost forget. If it's just once a month, I forget to go back to it. If somebody said, here's our monthly events, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I'm going to save that. And then, 2 or 3 weeks in, I don't even remember how long ago that darn thing was there to
Right.
find it. But weekly seems to be just about right for me.
Yeah.
So with that said, Debbie, if you just did something once a week and just reminded folks that you're taking, applications or whatever you want to do for your fireside chat, or you're chatting with folks, once a week, just put something out there, if you're, to connect with you, if they're interested in being interviewed, but then weave in what you're doing in a
Okay.
blog post. Yeah. And start getting some mileage there. And Ruth, you could do the same thing with your 5-day challenge. You could actually put that out on a meetup group. You could put that out on Facebook events. You could put that out on a LinkedIn. You could put that out on Eventbrite. You could actually put your 5-day challenge out in more places than just having it on your website or on social media.
I may be talking to you about that later. I know you probably need to go today and get going on your deals.
But
Well, and
go ahead.
sorry. Before we hang up, I want to ask Ruth a question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Not on the recording.
Oh, okay. All right. With that, we are going to end then. This is, again, our bloggers group, and we've talked about promoting our blog today. So join us next time.